the host of the J Moore Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Well, hey everyone, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Welcome to the J Moore Tech Talk Show. We had a little bit of an issue with the weather the other day, which is why we're here broadcasting and streaming and also re-recording for all of our great friends that watch the J Moore Tech Talk Show. Unfortunately, we do our best to record live and to record things and send them out to our different partners. However, when things like storms happen, well, we can't control that. All right. Well, welcome everyone once again to the J Moore Tech Talk Show. If you didn't know, you can catch a lot of my great content online at believemeachieve.com. That's believemeachieve.com. By the way, you can do that 24 hours a day. Don't do that now because we have a great show lined up for you. Maybe you're hungry. Maybe you want to head out to the kitchen. Maybe it's something hot, something cold. It's a drink. It's a snack. Maybe it's healthy. Maybe it's tart. Or maybe not. That's totally up to you. Thank you so much for tuning into the J Moore Tech Talk Show, your weekly technology bulletin, letting you know what's going on in technology. So on this week's particular episode, folks, we have really a great show for you. We're diving deep into a whirlwind of what I want to say is jaw-dropping, well, innovations and technology, legal showdowns, and headline-shaking moments from the tech universe. From edible batteries, you heard me correctly, gentlemen. I said edible batteries. We'll talk about that in a minute. And AI courtroom avatars to privacy lawsuits and quantum defenses, and of course, international tensions over the chip exports. This isn't just your regular tech that you see on the internet. It's the pulse of tomorrow and where your world is going. If you're not watching the J Moore Tech Talk Show, you're behind. And you're missing things that could potentially protect your life. Whether you're a tech enthusiast or an industry pro or someone, well, let's say just trying to keep up with the latest ever emerging trends in the evolving world, this episode is packed with everything that you must listen to. Your roundup of everything electronical, computers, ethical, and extraordinary, ladies and gentlemen, in the tech world. So, why not sit back, relax after you've gotten that refreshment or snack that you have, whatever that be. Feel free to go grab that and, hurry on back, guys, because we definitely want to start this show off and get you guys, on track with everything because there is so much happening this week. And I've got to try to basically sum it all up in a very short, how can I say, a very short way because there's just so much out there. And, I give you the latest and the greatest stuff that I feel is going to empower you to not only make the right decisions in life, but things that'll actually educate you and allow you to enjoy the beauty of technology. I know that sounds like I'm drunk and I don't drink, but enjoying the beauty of technology, whether it be databases, whether it be security, whether it be features. There's so many different things that we cover here on the J Moore Tech Talk Show. And I want to thank you for joining me here today. Number one, Nvidia reworks the AI chip to bypass the U.S. export bans in the U.S. Now, Nvidia, as you guys know, the powerhouse behind some of the world's most advanced and remarkable graphics and now AI chips, is redesigning its hardware to navigate around a very sticky, strict U.S. export set of bans aimed at limiting tech access to countries like, you got it, China. Now, these bans were meant to curb AI development abroad, especially in military and surveillance contexts. But Nvidia's strategic workaround shows just how determined companies are to keep selling high performance chips internationally while staying technically within legal bounds. This move reflects not just innovation, but a savvy understanding of geopolitical and commercial pressures in the silicon race. Now, what's going on? Do I think it's unethical? I don't want to say it's unethical, but I definitely think it's definitely bordering some concern in what a company's going to do to be able to get an export through. And so, how is this even happening? Because you're probably wondering, John, like, how do they make this even possible? Well, so this whole thing is basically a plan to foil what's going on. So Nvidia, as I said, is re-engineering its powerful chips. It's actually the H20 AI chip, to be exact, for China. And they're slashing the specs, like the memory, to dodge the U.S. export bans and protect its $17 billion stake in the region. Now, despite tighter U.S. controls, the downgraded chip is set to launch by July this year, 2025. Is Nvidia's bold move to keep feeding China's AI boom with tech giants like Alibaba, Tencent, and ByteDance already lining up? Yeah, it is. But I think they're going to get into some hot water when it comes to the European Union, because we know they've been scrutinizing things. And although they're dumbing down the chip, if we want to say quote unquote, I just feel that this isn't a good thing. I really do. So that's my honest truth. Number two, Senator proposes a GPS tracked AI set of chips to be blocked from smuggling. So, amid the growing concern over artificial intelligence chip smuggling, a U.S. senator is proposing legislation that would require GPS tracking technology to be embedded directly into AI chips. The goal? Prevent these chips powering components from ending up in the hands of foreign adversaries through the black markets or backdoor exports. While it might sound like a strong national security move, critics are raising red flags about privacy, feasibility, and whether GPS could even function reliably in all chips use cases. Now, the proposal ignites a deeper conversation about how far government should be going in surveilling technology at the hardware level. What I personally think we should be doing, and this is my professional recommendation for doing this many, many years, and now a student going back to school after engineering, going back for my master's in computer science AI, and also then after that going back for my master's CSAI in PhD area. I will tell you that I think we should go back to what software companies were doing many years ago. We all made fun of the fact that Microsoft had these long, crazy activation codes. What we should do is allow the chip to check where it is. So, for example, maybe it's calling a phone number, it's validating some information, because maybe people could, let's say, spoof things with VPNs. So maybe what we have to do is set up a call center when chips are not and when chips are coming to, let's say these are coming to the US. They certain shipments. So what they can do is any chip that basically is coming to the US, let's say, doesn't have to have that, but other places that require it is going to need it. So we could set up a whole bunch of rules. Let's say anything that goes into China, for example, has to be validated. And so if the use case doesn't pass, it can be as simple as having a call center on the line. You've all probably activated Microsoft Word or Office or Excel or PowerPoint. And, now they made it so easy. You can just go online and click a button, it checks your computer. But let's face it, bad actors out there are going to be able to spoof things by using VPNs to say that, they're in the United States when really they're in China or they're in another country. And that's a big problem. So I think we need to really step up. I think GPS technology for tracking, I think that's a little overboard. And I think it's a little far-fetched. I think we can just handle this really well with some basic call centers and validations. And we can ask some questions. We can track an order. There's lots of things we can do to make sure that this chip is supposed to be where it is. Now, again, it seems like a strong national security move, and it definitely is. And we don't even know if it's going to work. So I think implementing a tracking system whereby the code has to be activated by giving it, which is a time-sensitive code, and then validating the person is where they're actually calling from. There's ways we can do this, right? There's ways that we can track certain things which don't use VPNs. But this is just some of my ideas to give you like a quick bird's eye view on that. But I think installing sensors and chips is a waste of money. And I think at the onset, we as the business owners or the consumers are going to be paying for this stupid technology, which isn't even to protect us. Well, indirectly it is by not selling to China. And number three, Italy's Multiply sues Google for a £3 billion in an antitrust case. So the David versus Goliath, if you will, story continues as the Italian tech startup Multiply launches a $3 billion lawsuit against Google, accusing them of unfair digital advertising practices that stifled competition. Multiply argues and alleges that Google's dominance in the search and ads created ecosystem forces smaller platforms to pay more and get less visibility. If the case gains traction, it could set a major, ladies and gentlemen, precedent for other European Union-based companies to challenge big tech. With the European Union already involved and leading the charge on tech regulation, this lawsuit could fan the flames of broader antitrust reforms across the continent. The problem is, there's a lot to this case, and this case is not cut and dry. I think if we see this case go through and Google getting penalized with this and them having to pay, I think it's going to wake the minds up of a lot of people out there that are potentially thinking, I could do this. It'd be wrong. But once they see, and just like, in school or in class, that an example is being set, and that bad example is going to say, I don't want to throw spitballs anymore, or I don't want to talk in class, or I don't want to copy from my neighbor's desk. Why? Because I know other people that are getting punished for it. And I think that's a very, very big problem, but hopefully it'll wake up the world. Well, RoboCake debuts with something pretty interesting. We've all had cake before, but how about an edible chocolate battery? You heard me right. I said a chocolate battery that's edible. Move over the lithium ion batteries. There's a new battery in town, and it is absolutely delicious. The startup RoboCake has created edible chocolate batteries that can store small amounts of power and safely be consumed. Initially, it was designed for novelty use in food tech and biodegradable wearables. These sweet circuits blend science with a sense of fun. While they won't power your phone anytime soon, they could play a role in medical devices, children's toys, or even interactive culinary experiences. Who said science couldn't taste good? What I'd like to do is have my team reach out and try to get, them either on the show or try to get at least the product so that I could taste it and tell you what it's about and literally show you live on the show. I think that would be really, really cool. All right, guys. I am just so excited to get deeper into that. So it has lots of possibilities. They could have little mini motors on cakes. Of course, those are not edible. You've got LED lights, which don't take much power at all. So all being powered by a sense of sugar. But we're going to dive into that a lot deeper in other episodes. Number 5, artificial intelligence does something really amazing. It resurrects a victim as a courtroom avatar. In a case that feels kind of something out of a sci-fi book, and a courtroom used AI to digitally recreate a murder victim who was then projected as an avatar to provide testimony based on digital memories and evidence. The virtual witness technique was designed to humanize the victim's experience and provide more emotional clarity for the jury. While the groundbreaking situation approach raises deeply ethical and legal questions, my issue is, can AI be represented consciously and be trusted? And the answer right now is no. AI does not have consciousness. Is it admissible? If it's not conscious, how can we technically admit it in a courtroom? I mean, I think that's the big question. And where are we actually going to draw the line, folks, between innovation and manipulation in the courtroom? I mean, what's going to be allowed? I mean, what are we going to do? Get a monkey to testify for us next? I mean, I'm being facetious, but this is a little bit crazed, right? And so it was the first ever AI avatar in a courtroom, and it was for a road rage victim, and he returns via the AI video to deliver his own impact statement, offering forgiveness and confronting his shooter face to face, reshaping justice with tech. It might not even be accurate at all. All right. Number 6, guys. The UK launches an unhackable quantum cyber shield. So the UK has developed a next gen, basically cybersecurity system based on quantum technology, and it claims it's virtually unhackable. So before we can understand this, let's talk about the bits. So the difference of basically a regular bit versus a qubit. So a typical bit represents two conditions, on or off. Okay. The question you might be asking is, how many states can one qubit represent? And I think that's a great question, because classical bits, just two distinct bits. So qubits can take on, you ready for the number? An infinite number of different values, more like a dimmer knob than a simple switch. Qubits can also store a superposition, which is very close to a switch that is both up and down at the same time. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, without getting too technical into this, this is how we actually get MRI images, because of the quantum physics and the ability to have something of the state of both multiple positions at the same time. That's its very simple definition. So using QKD, that stands for quantum key distribution, the system actually transmits encryption keys using light particles, which can't be copied or intercepted without any type of detection. Now, this method represents a giant leap forward in national defense, especially as cyber threats grow more sophisticated. It's also a signal to global powers that the cyber arms race has entered a new phase, one where quantum computing isn't just theoretical anymore, it's truly operational. So we're now into like what I'll call a proof of concept model. And after we get past proof of concept, it'll actually turn into something that people will invest in, and it will be on the market. Now, the question you might be asking yourself, and it's a really, really, really good question, is how long, right? How long would it take to hack, let's say, an 8-character, let's just say an 8-character password on a typical computer? Okay. If we think about that, all right, they can be cracked, and I know you're gonna go like you're gonna be bogged when I give you the answer to this. They can be cracked in less than 60 minutes. All right. They use a technique called brute force hacking. I'm not here to teach you how to do that, but the risks are out there, which is why we're encouraging people to make sure that it's not just a simple, you know, like set of words or numbers. We want to make sure that it has at least 8 characters, one uppercase letter, one number, one symbol. So what if it's an 8 character and it has, different things like, characters, numbers, upper, lower, and symbols. So how long would it take then? Well, the way it typically works, if we do it by characters, okay? If it's numbers only, it'll be hacked. Let's just do it 4 characters. It'll be hacked instantly. If it's lowercase only, instantly. If it's upper and lowercase, instantly. Numbers, upper and lowercase letters, instantly. Numbers, upper and lowercase letters and symbols, instantly. So you get to a period of where instantly, and I don't want to go through the whole chart with you, but basically everything is instantly up until 6. So when you get past 6 characters, everything is instant. When you get to 7, numbers only is instant, lowers case is instant, and upper and lower case is 1 second. Numbers upper and lower is 2. Numbers upper, lower, and symbols is 4. Okay, so great. 4 seconds really doesn't mean that much, right? So now, if we look at it from 8 characters. We're instant and instant on the numbers and the lower, but then on the upper and the lowercase letters, we're actually 28 seconds. On numbers, upper and lowercase, 2 minutes. Numbers, upper and lowercase letters and symbols, we are actually at 5 minutes. So you see why you want to have at least an 8-character password, right? Now, if you move on to a 9-character password, it's instant only on the number. It's 3 seconds on the lower letters. It's 24 minutes on an upper and lowercase set of letters. It is 2 hours on numbers, upper and lowercase and letters. Okay. And it's 5 minutes on numbers, upper and lowercase letters and symbols. All right. Now, if we have 9, if we move to the next, which would be 9, it's 3 seconds on the basically on the lowercase. The numbers only is instant. The upper and lowercase would be 1 month. The numbers upper and lowercase would be 10. Yes. So upper and lowercase letters is 1 month. Numbers upper and lowercase letters would be 10 months, and the numbers upper and lowercase letters and symbols would be. You ready for this? Would actually equate to be 3 years. Okay. So if you're changing your password every year and they're using classical computer, great. I recommend that your passwords be at least, I know you're not going to like me for this, but I recommend that your password be at least 12 characters. Let me tell you why. So you got 1 second on numbers only. You got lowercase letters, you got 14 hours. On upper and lowercase letters, you got 6 years. Okay, just upper and lowercase letters. If you do numbers, upper and lowercase letters, okay, you get 53 years. If you do numbers, upper and lowercase letters and symbols, you get 226 years. All right. So I'm not going to go through the whole formula with you, but if you went up to 18, okay, first of all, once you get past 11, everything is not instant anymore. It's like 1 second, 5 seconds, 52 seconds, 9 minutes, 1 hour, 14 hours, 6 days. On 18 characters, which is what a lot of passwords are you ready for the numbers on this? Okay. The numbers only would be 6 days. The lowercase letters would be 481,000 years. The upper and lowercase letters would be 126 billion years. The numbers, upper and lowercase letters, that's numbers, upper and lowercase letters, would be 2 trillion years. And the numbers, upper and lowercase letters and symbols will be 26 trillion years. Wow, guys, that's pretty scary, isn't it? So this is why I'm telling you guys, you need to make sure you're not using simple passwords. And hopefully that makes sense. Now, let's say if we do the same thing on a quantum computer. Are you ready for this? You're basically going to have a heart attack when I give you this number. The formula is a lot quicker. When using at least one uppercase letter, we explain the differences. So the question is, how fast can a quantum computer hack your password? And I think this is going to blow your mind. All right. Simple passwords such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 already, they are very, very high. We all know that. So we talk about this. Passwords 20, 50, and 100 random characters along with ASCII input. Then we got 20, 50, and 100. So when we think about quantum computers, it's not going to take them very, very long to hack because of all their possibilities. So this means that we need to come up with strong passwords in the quantum computing era. Because if we do not do this, folks, you know what's going to happen? They're going to be able to eat through this, basically like slice through it like hot butter. So the question is, how long would, let's say, a quantum computer take to hack a 12-character password? Ready for that? All right. So, again, I don't want to scare you on this. Quantum computers have the power to revolutionize many fields due to their abilities. Okay. They're used in drug discovery, material science, financial modeling, cryptography, optimization problems. So people are recommending 12 characters or 14 characters. But I think when we ask this question, I think a lot of people are figuring, well, if we make something for quantum, that's great. But the problem is, if we make something for quantum, we have to make sure that quantum can't hack it very quickly. All right. So again, we have the different password types. Quantum algorithm uses the Grover's algorithm, which is one of the popular ones. There's a couple actually. And so how long will it take? And I got to tell you guys, it's not going to take very, very long. A 12 character truly random complex pattern is still safe today, even from quantum threats, because quantum computers that could crack it in seconds do not exist yet, but they are coming. Okay. I recommend that your password be around 12 to 14 characters. Why? Well, I just gave you the math, right? I just explained to you why that password is something that I think you should think about, and why it's something that's so very, very important. I mean, we looked at the numbers here, right? We looked at the fact that, when you do a 14 character password, okay, if you do all the things I told you, it won't get hacked. A 12 character password won't get hacked for 226. So definitely go above 8, okay? Really go above 10. If you go above 10, then that means your password at 11 will be 3 years at all the stuff. But the thing is this, most people will change their passwords every year, okay? Which is fine with this. They've had standards that say you should change every 90 days. You see why, if you have a password that, let's say, maybe it's a password like the one we were talking about. So the one that would be close to that would probably be like an 11 character. But I would recommend, guys, that you have a password at least, well, 10 is lousy, 11 or 12 or 14. 14 is probably the best at 1 million years. But now hopefully you've got a little more appreciation of how that works and why we're so concerned. And once the quantum computers do surface that could hack that password like that, we now have to change the way our passwords are working. And so that means that if something might take 10,000 years for a typical classical computer to hack, a quantum computer might not be able to hack that for, I don't know, maybe 100 years or 1,000 years. And that might be okay because we all typically change passwords every 90 days. Now, if somebody said to me, John, and this is a very, very good question, how often, right? If somebody asked me this question right now, how often, right? How often should I change my password? How often should you change it, right? So your passwords on your phone are basically crap, right? Because when you have a password to a voicemail box, right? And I think this is probably something that, again, a lot of people don't want to talk about. But a password that is numbers only, okay, can be hacked very, very quickly. So you know what that means? That means that your voicemail passwords that you have on your phones, they're not very secure. The only way they would be secure is if you could have letters and numbers as the password. Okay. So I'm hoping that's giving you guys a little bit of thought. Okay. So best practices for password changes while we're on the subject. High risk or sensitive accounts like banking, email, business admin should be every 3 to 6 months. Now, this is understanding the rules of basically where you are in that spectrum. If your password is out 12 years, well, then you don't have to change it every 3 months, right? But they're assuming most people don't. General accounts like social media and shopping every 6 to 12 months. If you reuse a password, we recommend not doing that. You change it more frequently every 3 months. You can use a password manager, but be careful which ones you use. Maybe you'll change the password immediately if you've received a breach notification, you're seeing an unfamiliar activity, You've logged in a public shared computer. You shared your password with someone, even if you trust them. Um, you use long, complex, unique passwords for each site. Enable two-factor authentication where available. Avoid using real words, birthdays, or anything easily guessable. And I'm hoping, guys, that will give you some forethought as to, what it is that can help you. And I think a lot of people just don't realize that we've got to be comprehensive. Okay. And so maybe you're going to say to me, John, well, that's never going to happen to me. So now you understand the rules and you know that if you have yourself a 5, 6 character password, well, that's not going to last very long, is it? So again, if you want to be safe, I recommend the 12 character password, 226 years. If you can do 13, 15,000, we do 14, 1 million would make me feel really good. So you might say, John, how the heck do I remember a password? Well, we'll go into this on another show. I'm not going to get into it today, but there's algorithms I can teach you to show you how to do that, which will protect your password. And everyone can use it because you'll have different data. We'll talk about that on another show. Number 7, guys, Trump moves to lift the Biden era on the chip export curbs in the U.S. So former now President Donald Trump, has announced a plan to roll back Biden's era restrictions on chip exports, particularly to countries like China. The move is aimed at bolstering the U.S. manufacturing and giving American chip makers more freedom to sell abroad. Proponents say that it could energize the U.S. economy and reassert global influence, while critics warn it could compromise national security and fuel adversarial tech growth. This policy reversal could have ripple effects across the global semiconductor supply chain and reignite trade wars. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. And number 8, guys, because this show does go out to a lot of family channels, what I just want to tell you is it's adult content, okay? Adult content showing things that are not appropriate for minors. And the site that was shut down, Mr. Deepfakes, was shut down after legal crackdown. After years of controversy, the notorious Deepfake adult site, putting out lots of adult materials and deepfakes of people that are, let's say, not in mentionables that you want to talk about, has officially gone offline. Now, this comes after mounting lawsuits and public outcries about non-consensual content, especially involving AI-generated likenesses of celebrities and private citizens. The shutdown is a major win for digital rights advocates who argue that deepfake tech has gone largely unchecked. A legal framework begins catching up with AI's capabilities, and this could mark a turning point, guys, in how governments regulate synthetic media and protect personal identities. I still think we are a long way on the boat with that, but it's definitely something that I believe we need to be aware of. Hey, guys, and if you have an Apple phone, well, you're going to want to pay strict attention to this. Apple settles a $95 million Siri spying lawsuit. The payouts are coming. Apple has agreed to pay $95 million to settle a class action lawsuit accusing Siri of unauthorized voice recordings. The suit claimed that Siri would activate unexpectedly and capture private conversations, violating user privacy. Apple, of course, denied wrongdoing, but chose to settle, and how many users may be eligible for the compensation, I'll let you know in a minute. This case underscores the fine line between convenience and surveillance when it comes to smart assistants. It also places Apple, long seen as a privacy champion, under the same scrutiny now as rivals. And I always believe, to be honest with you guys, that Apple, when they boast so much about how secure they are, I don't know about you, but I tend to lose my trust in a company. I want to see that they really are secure. I think that's really important. So you can actually go to www.lopez, that's Lopez, voice assistant settlement.com/submit-claim. That's www.lopez, voice assistant settlement.com/submit-claim. Now, what I will tell you is that filing this claim is not the easiest thing. Number one, they're only going to give you basically $20 per device. And if you had multiple devices, well, they're only going to pay you for 5 of them. So Here's how you have to do it. When you go to this page, you're going to see the submit a claim button, which is way at the bottom. So you have to like really read. It's not at the top where I think it should be. It's kind of not obvious. So once you click on that button, that little link, the hyperlink, it'll take you to a page, fill out all your information. The email that you use must be the email that you are using on your Apple account and the one that you used with that phone, or they'll have a problem validating it. So if you don't have your proof of purchase, which I doubt you probably do, you can go back to your boxes. I usually save my Apple boxes at least 7 years. Perfect reason for it. Why? Because the serial number is actually on the box. So when I'm filing my claim, which I haven't done yet, by the way, it has to be done before July 1st. So definitely get that done if you want to be eligible to get that possible $100. And if you only had one phone, well, then it's only $20. So I hope that helps you guys. And yeah, Apple is now getting thrown under the bus just like everyone else. And it looks like Apple is not any better than anyone else. And number 10 this week, Amazon unveils Ocelot quantum chip to rival Google and Microsoft. So Amazon has thrown its hat, proverbially, into the quantum ring with Ocelot, a new chip designed to outperform offerings from Google and Microsoft. The tech Titan says Ocelot will help solve complex optimization problems faster than traditional supercomputers, with potential applications in logistics, AI, and encryption. Ocelot positions Amazon as a serious contender in the quantum computing space. It also adds firepower to the tech arms race, where supremacy could mean a multi-billion-dollar advantage in next-gen industries. And so we've got to be careful with that, or there'll be another lawsuit coming from the European Union. We all know how that's going to work, right? So interesting, but the question is, who's going to get there first? Is it going to be Amazon? Is it going to be Google? Is it going to be Microsoft? We'll have to see. And who's going to get there without having their butt on fire? Because if the European Union comes after them, it's like we all have to return back to home without any money, right? We go around the Monopoly board. We have to return all the way back to home without collecting money, or return all the way to the end of the board, just pass go, so we don't collect any money. All right. Well, number 11 is kind of cool. AI is now designing and refreshing Candy Crush puzzles. What are you talking about, John? Your Candy Crush edition, it's a game. It just got smarter. So King, who is the game's parent company, now uses AI to auto-generate and test new levels for hit mobile games. Machine learning ensures that basically the puzzles are engaging enough without being too difficult or too easy, adjusting difficulty based on users' feedback and, of course, behavior. Now, the AI behind the game is actually, pretty cool, but it's there to basically react emotionally, tweaking design to optimize fun and frustration. We call it gamification 2.0. And I know a lot of you are probably saying to me, John, what is it? And it's a great question. What is gamification 2.0? So gamification 2.0 is an approach that's morphed into a sophisticated model that leverages the latest tech into making learning more engaging, efficient, and enjoyable. And so now that we know, after many studies, our brain loves to be rewarded. And this is why social media has many teens addicted. They love the feeling they get when they get a like, but they also get the depression sometimes when they don't get those likes, right? Or those shares. So definitely pretty cool what's going on. And so next time you play Candy Crush, you're now going to know why it's reacting the way it does. It's using your game experience to help change the game if need be. And number 12, guys, yes, I'm very happy that we have Pope Francis the 14th in at the Vatican. The Pope urges tech to serve humanity, not dominate it. I love that. The Pope urges tech to serve humanity and not dominate it. Pope Francis the 14th is urging developers and leaders from all over the world to ensure that technological advancements, particularly in the AI world, serve humanity rather than control or displace it. In a globally televised message, the Pope stressed compassion, dignity, and ethical design, challenging tech giants to ask not just can we, but should we. His words echoed growing concern that unchecked tech may erode our shared humanity, and they offer a spiritual perspective to balance information with intention. And I think we have to move from a model of just creating for profit and creating for something that is going to give us value, but it's based on some morals and our true core values. It can't just be, let's just do this to get a quick buck. And India is doing something pretty interesting, folks. India is now using smartwatches to monitor heat wave health risks. In a clever blend of public health and wearable tech, India is using these smartwatches to monitor people's, let's say, the conditions during life-threatening heat waves. Now, these devices collect real-time data on heart, basically rates, hydration, and temperature. And it sends alerts when users are at risk. With climate change making heat events more frequent and severe, the solution shows how low-cost wearables can become a high-impact lifesaver, especially in densely populated regions. Now, you might be asking, John, and it's a fantastic question, how much does one of these devices cost that's going to save my life? Well, it's $100. So, well, gee, that's not a lot. Well, in India, that is. So if we translate, because that's probably the best way to do it, if we translate right now $100 into rupees, we're going to come out with, what is it? Basically comes out to quite a bit. 8. So that would be 8,558,000, 30,000, like that. So like it's actually like 1, 2, 3. It's like 8. Yeah, this is quite a bit. This is a very high number. Let me just see here. So this translates out into a very, very high number. And so I think a lot of people would say this is probably fine, but the fact that you could stay in a hotel for $100. So the dollar currently goes very far in India right now. Very, very far. I would have thought the government would be paying for this, but maybe not. I just don't know. All right. And our last point, I know we covered a lot. And if you missed any of this, feel free to go back to believemeachieve.com for not only my amazing, inspiring creations, but to rewatch this show, because there's a lot of nuggets in here. Number 14th, our last and final story for today. Virtual kidnapping scams, they're on the rise. And warnings are going up and they're getting issued. A terrifying new scam is trending, and it's sweeping the globe. It's called virtual kidnapping. Now, criminals are using AI to mimic the voice of loved ones, calling victims and claiming a family member has been kidnapped, then demanding ransom. Now, these scams are emotionally devastating and increasingly believable, thanks to generative voice tech, or should I say not thanks to it. Authorities are urging the public to verify information before reacting and to establish safe word protocols within families. It is a disturbing reminder that even our voices are no longer safe from exploitation. So if you're using something like, it could be any bank company, and they want to record your voice as your password, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I've told my dad not to use this, doesn't listen to me. I told him by doing this, you are now putting yourself out there. It's kind of like putting yourself out there with, the 4-character password that can be hacked almost instantly. People can hack it instantly. If somebody calls you on the cell phone and you say the word, a lot of times you say hello, but you don't want to say anything until you hear the person. So usually they'll say your name, and then you'll respond after that, yes. Don't say yes. You could say, this is he, this is her. Do not say the word yes. That is really, really vital. I want to share a story that happened to me. This was probably when I'm going to say I was probably in 5th or 6th grade. I was coming home. Actually, a classmate's parents had taken me home because my parents had a business and my dad was at his business. So they took me home. It was actually a first Friday, so I went to Catholic parochial school, and every first Friday they had a mass. So I came home. I had didn't talk to my mom yet. I came home, and as soon as I got home, first thing I did was I changed out of my clothes to get into something comfortable, because when you went to parochial school, at least for grammar school, you had to wear a uniform. I had to wear basically it was a very light blue shirt. I don't like that color blue because I wore it so much. It's not a blue like a normal blue or a royal blue. It's a real light blue, like very pale blue. I didn't like the color. And so up until I think it was fourth grade or fifth grade, a lot of people were wearing clip-on ties. You just put the tie on, you clip it on. After that, the people were wearing the ties you actually made. So I would change my clothes. I had blue slacks. So I would typically change into shorts or whatever it was, depending on the temperature. And so I'd get comfortable. Usually I'd put a pair of, it could be jeans or something just to be comfortable. And so I was just making myself some lunch. I think I had made myself a grilled cheese sandwich. And at that time, I liked Chips Ahoy chocolate chip cookies. Don't know why I don't like them anymore, but I had liked them. And I would have them. And I was going up to my room. I think I was going up at the time to log into something. We didn't have websites back then. We actually had bulletin boards, and I was checking a message. And so after I finished doing that, maybe a few minutes after, I got a phone call. And this person called, and they called the house line, not my personal line. And they said, your parents have been in an accident. We're very sorry. Please call this number back. It's urgent that you call us back immediately. Okay, so I didn't even think. I took the number down, and I wrote down the number 1-900 bop 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 bop. You're like, well, what's that? Well, for those of you who don't know, 900 numbers, they're very sparse today, and they caused a lot of problems. They are what we call pay per minute or pay per unit services. There could be variable rate billing. There could be flat rate billing per call. There are lots of things. So this guy called, gave me the information. I hung up immediately, and I called this number. You know what happened when I called the number? I said, he goes, hello. I said, hi, this is John. So you just called me? Oh, yeah. I'm calling about my parents. Oh, okay, just 1 minute. So I'm calling this number, which again is a pay per minute number, which who knows how much they were charging per minute. And so I'm waiting and back and forth. He's, oh, they're here. Okay. So I'm waiting, and he's like stalling me. And I'm on the phone for like 10 minutes. I'm like, this is crazy. So I'm like, I know, why don't I just call them at the store and see if they're okay? So I muted the phone while he was checking. He said, I'm checking to find them. On my own phone, I picked up the phone. I called. I said, my mom answered the phone. And I said, hi, Mom. Or I said, are you okay? He's like, Dad, are you okay? He's like, yeah, we're fine. I said, I just got a strange call. I'm on the phone with this guy. And he says you both have been in a serious life-threatening accident. And he told me to call this number. And now I'm waiting for him to call. So hang up. So I hung up. Long story short, a month later, we get the phone. And my dad's like, who did you call? Who did I call? Who did you call at 1:12 on last first Friday of the month? And I was like, Dad, I don't know. I didn't call anybody. I mean, I don't call anybody on the house line. If it's not local, I call it on my line. So who did you call? And he said it was a 1-900 number. I said, I didn't call anybody. And so he says, you didn't dial that number for anything? I said, oh, wait a minute. I said, what was the date? And I looked back and I said, Mom, was that the date I called you? Remember I called you at the store? Was that the date I called you? She's like, yeah, that was the date. Yeah, there was this guy, Dad, that called. He called and he told me that you and Mom had been into a serious accident. Didn't she tell you? He's like, no, she never told me anything. So, well, I was on the phone with him like 20 or 30 minutes. And I don't know. He got a bill for like $2,000. So $2,000 was a lot for a phone call. And so I was on that phone call. I'm trying to remember how long I was on, but let's say it was on maybe about 15 minutes. So no, it had to be more than that actually. So it was like $2,000, but it was like a flat rate bill or something. And so he had called the phone company at that time was Belt Atlantic. And then we went back to AT&T, who was our long distance provider. Back then, you had a long distance carrier and you had a regular carrier. So we went to New Jersey Bell, and they told us, you need to call call AT&T, who is our carrier for long distance. We went to them because your bill basically gets provided on the let's say the Bell Atlantic's bill, but it's a page on there. But they don't control the billing. They just assert it, and then they just add it to the bill, and then they pay them. So I called them, explained what happened, and it was a scam. And we got our money back. So sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, in the impulse, you've all been in these aisles before, right? I call them the impulse aisle shopping things, when you go to check out. And it's like you don't need anything, right? But suddenly you find out that there is this item you want, or maybe you didn't even want. You see it and you go grab it, right? And when you go grab, it's like, oh, I didn't need, oh, I'll take one, I'll take two. And they count on people to do this all the time. Why? It's an impulse item. It could be the stupidest thing, anything from gum to some toy that nobody wants. But because it's right smack there when you check out, oh, yeah, let me check that out. Let me get one of those, right? And so what I want to share with you about this is that you are probably very smart, and you probably know when people are trying to con you. But when you're not going to pick it up, guys, is when there's unfortunately an emergency happening. And so this whole idea of virtual kidnapping, again, it involves criminals falsely claiming to have kidnapped a loved one to extort money. They often contact the victim via phone or online, creating a sense of urgency and panic by demanding ransom. Scammers use real personal information to make the threat seem real, exploiting fear and confusion to manipulate victims and their families and getting them to try to act. Red flags they include requests for quick payments, untraceable methods like gift cards, non-sequential gift cards, inconsistent details in the kidnapper's story. To protect yourself, stay calm, verify the safety of the person with the trusted sources, and never give into the unverified ransom demands. If you suspect a scam is a scam, contact authorities immediately and stay vigilant. I think a lot of people figure, oh, this is never going to happen to me. I'm really smart. Now, let me give a perfect example. So we help a lot of seniors in the tech business. And so there was this one lady, and I told her about, I had a client, didn't give her the name. I said, the person had just gotten frauded, yada, yada. We helped them get their money. Oh, you said, that's terrible. I was like, that'll never happen to me. I'm really like on the ball with that. Well, at the time, it was 6 months past that her husband had passed away. And apparently a company had called her and said that they want to give her money back because they were unable to provide the antivirus service. It was some BS. And so she's like, okay, fine. So can you mail me checks? Oh, I'm sorry, we don't mail checks. So they said, well, do you have an online bank account? She's, oh, no, I don't have it. Oh, that's okay. We can help you. We can go online and we can set up your online bank account for you. Oh, that'd be great. So she literally let him tunnel into her computer. She went to the website. They instructed her what to do. She put her account number in. It was the worst thing in the world. She got the $500 back the next morning that she was expected. The next day, you know what happened? The $500 plus all the other $30,000 was gone out of the account. The account was wiped to zero. She calls our help desk late at night, like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? We filed a report with the authorities. We did some digging, and we're able to get our money back. So the bottom line is, when your life patterns change and you suddenly notice you're doing something different, whether it's going online, whatever it is, you want to make sure you're in a sound mind. You don't want to do any of this in an impulsive manner. So when I visit clients, I'm like, hey, we want to set you up with online banking. But I would say, if you're not comfortable with this, let's not rush it. Let's wait till you're ready. When people are rushing you, that's a sign that they're trying to manipulate you. I mean, that's the doggone-ish truth. They are trying to manipulate you. And the more that you give in, the more that you show vulnerability, the more they're going to exploit that. And so I've had several of these bad actors call my clients, and I've been there, and literally I played stupid like I didn't know technology. I had one guy that was installing all kinds of bad files on there, and after being with him for, I don't know, a couple hours, he told me the issue's all fixed. And what he wound up doing is he wound up installing viruses on my computer, right? Now, the good thing is he wasn't really playing with my computer. He was playing with, quote unquote, a virtual machine, which is a piece of hardware that's actually mimicked through a piece of software. So by running this piece of software, it emulates a live computer. Now, that sounds pretty easy and simple, but I wasted this guy's entire half day. And when I just said to him, I hope you had fun, he said, what do you mean? I said, well, I hope you had fun playing with my virtual computer. He's still not. I said, I'm going to click a button. That whole computer is just going to disappear. He was like, what happened? I said, I told you it was a virtual machine. So I think these are things that a lot of people need to realize. And when something's going to be impulse for you, that's a good sign to say, wait a minute, I better back away. I better think about this because there's a chance there could be a bad actor in this place. And this bad actor could be trying to manipulate you, right? So I think when you get an impulse, it's important to analyze the source, to know what it's about. You can always say, gee, can I call you back? If they don't let you call them back, there's probably somebody. If somebody's trying to push you so much, guys, there's a very good shot that that person is not ethical, right? I send people things all the time. I say, look, we never store your credit card information. Your credit card is stored with a third-party processor like authorized.net. We can choose to charge it, but when we do that, we use like 3-factor authentication, so nobody's going to get it. Plus, the card is stored at a processor like authorized.net, etc., or like our web gateway. When you store a credit card, okay, and you don't have one of those companies to have it, well, then you potentially could be in a serious breach. And that breach could get you into lots of fines. Now, I know that sounds crazy, folks, but it's absolutely the doggonest truth. Wow, we have covered so much today, from talking about some beginnings to talking about the chips and the chocolate. I really want to get one of those chips for you because I think if I'm the Robo batteries, the chocolate batteries. I think once you see one and understand how it works, I think that'll be like really, really, really cool, right? Not just somewhat cool, but really cool. So we definitely have to realize that there are bad actors out there. And if we know that today, then we're able to prepare and do what we actually need to do. But that impulse, that item that you have to buy when you're at the cash register or you're trying to check out at a home improvement store, it's like, what is that? And they're like, oh, I got to grab one of those, right? And it might not even be something you need, but because it's right there at your level for an impulse buy, you go buy it. And you know what? I'm not going to return it because it's too much hassle, so I'll just keep it. And they bank on the fact that 2% of the people are probably going to return, and the other 98% are actually not going to return. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's always a privilege, a pleasure, and honor to be with you here on the J Moore Tech Talk Show, as well as all my other great shows. Please do check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. Be smart, stay safe, and use technology to your advantage. It's a tool. Let's use it for the greater good of all concerned. Take care, everyone.